The forest air hung thick with pine and damp earth as I knelt beside the creek, carefully sealing the last sample vial. 3 months into my wildlife behavioral study, and I'd finally isolated the compound I'd been searching for, a unique pheromone marker that could revolutionize how we understood territorial patterns. Getting late, Oliver, I muttered to myself, glancing at the darkening canopy above. I packed my equipment hastily, too hastily. In my rush, I didn't notice one vial, the control sample containing my own scent profile, roll from my bag into the underbrush. The next morning, I knew something was wrong the moment I approached my cabin. Small paw prints circled the perimeter, but they were oddly spaced, as if whatever made them had been walking upright. Stranger still were the arrangements. Wildflowers laid across my doorstep in deliberate patterns, smooth river stones stacked in impossible towers. What the hell? I crouched to examine the prints more closely. That's when I heard it, a laugh, musical and wild from the tree line. She emerged from the shadows like something from a dream, or perhaps a fever. Auburn hair cascaded past bare shoulders, and her eyes held an amber glow that couldn't be entirely human. She wore a simple dress that seemed woven from forest materials, and when she moved, there was something too fluid, too graceful about her gait. "Found you," she said, her voice carrying notes of triumph, and something else, hunger. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" I stood slowly, hand instinctively reaching for the bear spray on my belt. She tilted her head, exactly like a curious animal. "Not yet, but you will Oliver Reed. You will know me very, very well." She inhaled deeply, closing her eyes. "Your scent, it's everywhere now. In my head, in my dreams, coating my tongue like honey. That's incredibly concerning," I said, trying to maintain distance. "Look, I don't know what you think is happening here, but—" "Mating season," she interrupted, taking a step closer. I noticed her feet were bare, and yes, those were definitely not entirely human. The toes were too long, the nails too sharp. "Your essence called to me. The old ways don't lie." Researcher. When a fox finds the scent that sings to her soul, she must answer. The old ways. Foxes don't have a mating season in autumn, and they certainly don't. She laughed again, and this time I saw her teeth, just a bit too pointed. "Oh, Oliver, I'm not just a fox." In the blink of an eye, she changed. Not completely, but enough. Her features sharpened, russet fur rippled across her skin, and a magnificent tail unfurled behind her. "I'm Remy," she said. "In your mind now." I ran. Running from Remy proved futile. Over the next week, she appeared everywhere. I find her perched on my lab's roof, watching me through the skylight with those luminous amber eyes. She left more gifts, a rabbit's foot, shimmering feathers, once an entire honeycomb that couldn't have been easy to obtain. Each item was placed with care, on my pillow, in my research journals, one somehow inside my locked refrigerator. "This is stalking," I told her on the 5th day, after discovering her lounging in my cabin, despite the fact I'd changed all the locks. "This is illegal." She was examining my books, tail swishing lazily behind her. She'd committed to a middle form today, mostly human, but with fox ears, that magnificent tail, and the furred hands with their black claws. "Human laws," she said dismissively, "don't apply to courtship rituals older than your entire civilization." "Courtship? We're not. I don't even know you." "Then let me tell you." She set down the book and moved toward me with that predator's grace. "I'm 143 years old, though I look your age. I've lived in these woods since before your great-grandparents were born. I've watched your kind build and destroy, love and betray. I've been alone all that time, waiting. Despite my better judgment, I found myself asking, waiting for what? For a scent that would make my heart race. For a presence that would make me want to be human." She was close now, close enough that I could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. "Your compound, the one in the vial, wasn't just any scent. It was yours, concentrated, pure. It spoke to something ancient in me." "That's just biology," I said weakly. "Chemical reactions, nothing more." Her hand, careful despite the claws, touched my chest, right above my heart. Then why is yours beating so fast? I didn't have an answer. That night, I lay awake, acutely aware of the soft sounds from my roof. She was up there, keeping watch. Part of me wanted to call the authorities, but what would I even say? And another part, a part that was growing harder to ignore, found comfort in knowing she was near. The next morning, I found her asleep on my porch, curled in full fox form, a creature the size of a large wolf, her fur the color of autumn leaves. She looked peaceful, vulnerable even. I brought out a blanket. When her eyes opened, they held something I hadn't seen before: gratitude. "You didn't run," she whispered, already shifting back to human form, the blanket draped around her shoulders. "Where would I go?" I asked, sitting beside her. "This is my home." "It's mine too," she said softly. "Has been for a very long time." We sat in silence as the sun rose, and for the first time since this began, I didn't feel afraid. Accepting Remy's presence didn't mean understanding it. "Explain this to me," I said 2 weeks later, watching her arrange my research papers into patterns I couldn't decipher. "The mating season thing, is it metaphorical or literal?" She looked up from her work, a mischievous smile playing at her lips. "Does it matter? For my peace of mind?" "Yes." Remy abandoned the papers and moved to where I sat at my desk. She'd taken to wearing my spare shirts, which hung oversized on her smaller frame. Somehow, she made them look intentional, alluring even. Fox spirits bond differently than humans. It's not just physical, though that's certainly part of it. Her fingers trailed along my shoulder, and I suppressed a shiver. It's everything. Scent, presence, dream sharing. Dream sharing. You've been dreaming of running, haven't you? Through forests you've never seen, hunting prey with senses sharper than you've ever known. Her amber eyes locked with mine. Those are my memories seeping into you. The bond forming. She was right. For nights now, I've been waking with the taste of wild wind in my mouth, my muscles aching as if I'd been running for miles. "I didn't consent to this," I said, but my voice lacked conviction. "Your scent did." She was in my lap now. I wasn't sure when that happened. "Your body does, every time you don't flinch when I touch you. Your heart does, every time it speeds up when I'm near." Her face was inches from mine, her breath warm against my lips. "Tell me to leave, Oliver. Say it like you mean it, and I'll go. I'll break the bond before it fully forms. You'll forget me like a dream." I opened my mouth. The words should have been easy. They wouldn't come. Instead, I kissed her. She made a sound, surprise and satisfaction mixed, and kissed back with an intensity that stole my breath. Her hands tangled in my hair, claws careful against my scalp, and when she pulled back, her eyes had gone full amber, glowing in the dim light of my cabin. "There's no going back now," she whispered against my mouth. I know. What followed was a blur of sensation. She was everywhere at once, surprisingly strong as she pulled me toward the bedroom. Her skin was feverishly warm, and wherever she touched, I felt that heat spread through me. Clothes became obstacles to be overcome, her tail wrapping around my wrist as if to ensure I wouldn't escape. Not that I had any intention of trying. "I need you to understand," she breathed as we fell onto the bed. "This will change you. Not into what I am, but into something new. Something neither fox nor human, but bound to both." "Stop talking," I managed, pulling her down to me. She laughed, wild and free, and showed me what it meant to be claimed by something ancient and wild. Later, as I lay catching my breath, her head rested on my chest. I realized I could feel her heartbeat as clearly as my own. Two rhythms, slowly synchronizing. "Is this the bond?" I asked. "The beginning of it," she murmured, already half asleep. "We have so much more to discover." The changes started subtly. My sense of smell heightened first. I could distinguish individual trees in the forest by scent alone, could track the path of deer from hours before. Then my hearing sharpened, picking up the rustle of mice in the underbrush, the distant call of owls. "It's temporary," Remy assured me as we hiked through her territory. I'd started thinking of it as our territory. "Your human biology is just borrowing from ours during the bonding period. It'll fade to something more manageable." More manageable? I stopped walking. "Remy, I could hear my neighbor's conversation from 3 miles away yesterday." That's not manageable. That's surveillance. She giggled, actually giggled. You'll learn to filter. I can teach you. She moved closer, her hand finding mine with natural ease now. Besides, don't you enjoy it? The world so much more alive than before. I wanted to deny it, but I couldn't. The forest had become a symphony of scents and sounds, each walk a revelation. And with Remy beside me, her presence a constant warm note in my consciousness, it felt like coming home to a place I'd never known I'd left. What about you? I asked. You said the bond changes both of us. Her expression grew thoughtful. I'm becoming more human. Not physically, but here. She touched her chest. I can feel things I never could before. Worry when you're late coming home. Jealousy when you talk about your colleagues. This attachment that's both wonderful and terrifying. Sounds like love, I said quietly. She met my eyes, vulnerable in a way that made my chest tight. Is it? I have nothing to compare it to. I pulled her against me, burying my face in her hair. It always smelled of forest floor and wild roses, an impossible combination that was uniquely hers. Then we'll figure out together. That night, as we lay tangled in each other, the bond deepened in ways that were more emotional than physical. I felt her memories flowing more freely, decades of solitude in these woods, watching human lives unfold and fade while she remained unchanged. The loneliness was staggering. I'm here now, I whispered into the darkness. You're not alone anymore. Her arms tightened around me. Promise me something, Oliver. Anything. When a bond is complete, when a season ends, stay anyway. Not because you're compelled to, but because you choose to. Her voice cracked. I couldn't bear it if you stayed only because of fox magic. I turned to face her, seeing the fear in her luminous eyes. Remy, the bond didn't make me care about you. It just made it impossible to pretend I didn't want to. I kissed her then, slow and deep, trying to convey everything I felt. She responded with equal tenderness, her supernatural nature melting away until she was just a woman, afraid and hoping. We made love differently that night, not with the frantic energy of before, but with a gentleness that spoke of permanence. Every touch was a promise, every kiss a vow. Afterward, as she dozed against my shoulder, I felt the bond click into place, complete, unbreakable, and I had no regrets. 3 months later, autumn gave way to winter, and the mating season officially ended. I woke to find Remy already awake, watching me with an expression I'd learned to read, uncertainty mixed with hope. It's done, she said simply. The bond, it's stable now, but no longer compulsory. You can leave if you want. Go back to your purely human life. I sat up, noting that my enhanced senses had indeed faded to something more manageable, though not gone entirely. I would always be able to find her in a crowd, always sense her approach. Small things, echoes of what we'd shared. Is that what you want? I asked. What I want? She laughed bitterly. I want you to stay so badly it terrifies me. But I want to be real, Oliver. Not because some ancient fox magic says you should. I took her hand, feeling the slight claws against my palm. Come with me today, to the university. What? Why? Because I want to show you my world, the way you've shown me yours. The university campus was a revelation through Remy's eyes. She'd taken full human form. No ears, no tail, just a beautiful woman in borrowed clothes. But she moved with that telltale grace, and I noticed more than one person turn to watch her pass. I introduced her to my colleagues as my girlfriend. The word felt inadequate, but human language hadn't caught up to what we actually were to each other. So this is what you do all day, she whispered as we toured my lab. Stare at vials and numbers. Mostly, I admitted. Does it bore you? She touched a microscope gently, curiously. No, I'm trying to understand what could compete with morning hunts and starlit runs. She looked at me, serious now. This matters to you. Therefore, it matters to me. We spent the day bridging our worlds, me explaining my research, her sharing fox lore that might actually have scientific applications. My colleagues were charmed by her, though I suspected they sensed something unusual about her they couldn't quite name. As the sun set, we walked to the forest edge, the boundary between her world and mine. I've been thinking, I said, watching the stars emerge, about your offer to turn back time, to make me forget. Her whole body tensed. Oliver, I'm not interested, I continued, in forgetting or in leaving. But I do have a condition. Name it. Marry me. The words hung in the cold air between us. Remy stared at me, her mouth opening and closing soundlessly. You want to, but fox spirits don't marry. We bond, we. Then bond with me again, I interrupted, dropping to one knee and pulling out the ring I'd been carrying for weeks. A simple silver band with a fox design I'd commissioned from a local artisan. In your way and in mine. Be my wife and my bonded mate. Let me be your husband and your chosen partner. Let's build something that belongs to both our worlds. Tears, I'd never seen her cry before, slipped down her cheeks. You really choose this? Choose me, when you could have a normal life. Remy, I was never going to have a normal life. I'm a wildlife researcher who talks to samples and lives in the woods. But with you, I smiled. With you, I have an extraordinary life, one I wouldn't trade for anything. She tackled me into the snow, laughing and crying simultaneously, and kissed me with everything she had. Yes, she gasped between kisses. Yes to marriage, yes to bonding, yes to everything. I slipped the ring onto her finger, and she stared at it in wonder. Then, with a mischievous grin, she shifted slightly, just enough that fox ears appeared and her tail materialized. This is who you're getting, she said, half defiant, half uncertain. I pulled her close. This is who I want. That night, we bonded again, not because of seasonal magic or ancient compulsion, but because we chose to. We made love under the stars at the forest's edge, our bodies warm despite the winter cold, our hearts beating in perfect synchronization. And when spring came, I moved my research permanently to the forest cabin. We lived between worlds, hosting my colleagues for research meetings while running through moonlit woods in forms both human and otherwise. The vial that started everything sat on our mantle, a reminder that sometimes the best discoveries come from happy accidents. Remy liked to joke that she'd won the mating season competition. I always reminded her that we both won. And every autumn, when the leaves turned the color of her fox fur, we renewed our bonds, magical and mundane, wild and domestic, forever intertwined. Because some scents, once found, are meant to be kept forever.